talking about moving from volume-based to value-based in pharmaceuticals. I'd like to invite on stage Dr. Rajeev Singh Raghuvanshi, Drugs Controller General of India, CDSCO, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Dr. Raghuvanshi. A very warm welcome to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So, I'm very happy to be here. Thanks organizers for inviting me and giving this opportunity to talk to the industry leaders of the country and beyond. So, the time allocated, I can just touch upon some of the major thoughts which from my side, CDSCO side and government side on the regulatory side. How do we see the future and how do we see this shift from volume to value and how do we facilitate this shift in shortest possible time. So we all know that we have reached to a stage today where we have been designated as pharmacy of the world because of the achievements of things like 60% of vaccine production happening from India, global vaccine production happening from India, 20% of global medicine supply going out of India, some 25% of US generics going out of India. Largest number of US FDA approved plants outside US, which is around 600, being in India. This all has actually given us that position today of being the pharmacy of the world. Export of 25 billion US dollars, which is projected to touch $130 billion in next 7 years. The total trade, I'm sorry, not the export only, but total trade from 50 billion to 130 billion in next 7 years by 2030. Not an easy task. So whatever we have achieved largely has happened because of the generic revolution which came to this world. Right from the first ANDA filing of Cefaclor way back in 1990s, early 1990s by Ranbaxy, and today we are the world leader in generic medicine producers. But we also have to see that in last some 30 years, where we established leadership position because of the generic model, has that actually caught us in that success, and we have not been able to parallelly move the value game in this country. And that is something which is required at this point of time, more than I would say any time in the past. And I think we are losing time. So reaching a top is difficult, but I have been saying that maintaining the top position is more difficult. And we are in a situation where it will be difficult for us to maintain that leadership position if we don't shift that play from volume to value. And this shift is actually not only required to be at leadership position. It's actually also required looking at the patient, the value which we are giving to patient. Today, if you see the Indian patient population, probably largest pool of patients in the world, we have all sorts of diseases. Some of them have not been diagnosed. That doesn't mean that we do not have those diseases. I happen to be part of some of the committees where rare disease is discussed. And India is one of the countries where we have largest number of rare disease population also. So the patients also need the drugs which actually bring that play of value rather than volume. So how will it happen? This need to, it actually forces us to think that what all is required to do that shift, and first and foremost is that shift of the mindset. Because of the success of generic model, most of us are still thinking in the generic mind, thinking with generic mindset. We, as a, I don't know, it's training or mindset, whatever it is, I have seen most of the people, I have been in with industry, I am with government now. People wait for some reference to start working or developing a product. That is the biggest problem which we have to break and come out of that. There are very few people who are able to think that I can be the innovator and I can develop a product like innovator. Everybody is looking for a reference that let me see how that person has done, how US has done, how Europe has done, and I'll take the same model. So that is the first thing which we have to break and come out of that. And there are signals in the system, things are happening, but it needs to be a mass movement in this country. Otherwise we will not be successful. Because if you see the generic model, it has actually become a mass movement today. In pharma industry, good or bad, it has become a well-oiled machinery and everybody is actually thinking and looking for a reference. And if you give a reference, it will be within 6 months you will get a product same as what the reference is. But the problem is with the innovative thinking. So that mindset shift has to happen in the first place. And of course the industry has to bring more money into R&D. There is no debate on that. And I'm sure industries like OPPI members, who are most of the big ones, and IPA members, they are already thinking on these lines. The investment in R&D is increasing. And I'm sure this will bring that induction effect, and other companies also will start investing in R&D if they have not started doing that. The value play would actually come from which areas? From the generic, there is one subset of generics which is complex generics, which gives you significantly more value out of the inputs which we make. So complex generics, and similarly because of difficulty, I haven't seen much success in the Indian pharma with the complex generics, and I won't say Indian pharma, globally also, I have not seen success like generic in complex generics. One product, 3, 4, 5 companies only have the idea of complex generic products. As against maybe 50 players today if you see a simple generic product. So there is still value in complex generics. The bigger play which is coming in India, and I being head of the regulatory system here, we have the information of the kind of filings which we are getting, is the biotherapeutic play. Huge movement is happening, and that's a very positive change. And certainly future looks to be very bright with respect to biotherapeutics, be it biosimilars, be it cellular therapies, be it gene therapy. And I'll give you some statistics from my organization CDSCO on the approvals and IND filings, which would give you that kind of comfort and happiness that things are moving in the right direction in this country. From biotherapeutics, we also are getting some successes in discovery research, but not to the extent we should have. But things are moving in discovery research also. There are very few companies who are into it. There are few startups who are working in the discovery research. But significantly more has to be done in discovery research if we have to do that value play and maintain that leadership position at the global level. The global clinical trials is another area where we see huge opportunity, and lots of companies have started playing that game. And in last 1.5 years, the statistics in CDSCO shows that 50% increase in GCT applications and 30% increase in approval of GCT applications has happened. So that shows that the movement is happening in GCT, and I am also cognizant of the fact that lots of people sitting here would say that the GCT, the way approvals and regulations are being handled, need much more optimization, if I can say. We are working on that. On 24th, we have a stakeholder discussion, specifically on the GCT topic, to understand in a focused manner what are the issues which this industry is facing, so that we can look into how soon we can address those issues. So as a regulator, we are working on that line, but GCT certainly is an area where huge potential is there for a value play. Another good area, I was looking at the awards being given to different companies, and I think the HealthFlix was playing in that area of digital therapies, if you can say, digital medicine or digital health, to be more precise. So a lot of activities I have been watching in this area of diagnostic play, where the genetics, the radiology rather, and products coming out of that. A lot of research has happened in the last 5 years. A lot of digital intervention has happened in the last 5 years in this area. And now we have started seeing the products coming out, and some of the products are now being integrated into the national health system also. Some of these products at the interface of clinical and diagnosis and digital is actually now part of WHO programs also. So looks like in that diagnostic area, we are at an inflection point, and we will see huge and significant increase in the play in the diagnostic area also, and that's very important when it comes to duo value play. And digital health as a whole is another area which is huge, having huge potential, and not only from the value point of view in terms of money, but it brings lots of value in the healthcare system, because the last mile, if we have to touch the last mile with respect to the patients sitting at the farthest corner of this country, the only thing which in the present context make us do is digital health. A lot of things are happening at the government level, and I also know at the private level, to basically get that working and reach to that last mile, and automatically, if we are successful in doing that, the value will automatically come. Basically, once in a while from these forums, I say it's a play of Saraswati versus Lakshmi. We don't have to run after Lakshmi. If we actually run after Saraswati, Lakshmi automatically comes. So this digital play is actually, all these examples, that we are not running after the money, but we are actually running after the value and the value proposition for the patients, which in turn is actually in a form is actually, we are running after Saraswati, because we are creating knowledge, we are dissipating knowledge, and that knowledge is actually translating into the value for patients, and money automatically comes from there. So all these are areas where a lot of scope is there for value play, but we need, as I said, a lot of money, the mindset shift, and beyond this we also need a very focused collaboration between academia and industry. This terminology is an old terminology. I know lots of people get irritated after hearing industry-academia interaction. For the last 50-60 years we have been hearing this, nothing much has come out. But that's why I said focused, outcome-based, and the kind of academia which has developed in last 10-15 years in this country, which is very focused around a specific need, if I can say. We have best technology institutes, IITs, we have best management institutes, IIMs, we have best information technology institutes, IIIT. We have national institutes around the biologics, the genetics. Lot of things are very focused around a focused theme. These institutions have been built, and there is a need for a very strong collaboration with these kind of focused institutes to bring out that play in the modern medicine area. We also are very strong in technology, we know, and we are also very strong in pharma manufacturing infrastructure. We are very strong in the clinical side, right from clinical practice to clinical trial knowledge. And but in that same proportion, there is no play at the interface of technology and clinical. And that is one area which is important for digital health also, which is important for many more things in the healthcare industry. And that is the area where a very strong collaboration at industry to industry level is required. Technology industry with pharma industry, which I don't see much happening. Lots of people are internalizing the technology thing within themselves, and they are digitizing their whole system. They are working in that deep tech area with respect to data analytics. But I am yet to see a big play at the interface of collaboration between the technology companies and a pharma company, like say TCS and say Sun Pharma, or maybe Reddy's and Infosys. Those kind of interactions and collaborations are also need of the time, and certainly would help this whole healthcare system. We have to keep one thing in mind, which is very important at this, because this is we are at a nascent stage in this whole play. So as the value play comes, it's always a global play. Value play cannot be a national play, because the volumes are very less in value play, and you have to have a global market for that. And if you have to have a global, you have to operate in a global market, then that quality, good or bad, the quality play has to be very, very fair. Otherwise, this global play will never be successful. And this, all of us sitting here know very well. So we have to push for that we have to be successful at global level. The quality philosophy has to actually get integrated in our thinking, which unfortunately in the pharma side, we are struggling because of whatever reasons. So past is past, but since this side of the modern healthcare and therapeutic system, since we are starting it now, there is a lot of scope for us to change that thinking and integrate that quality thinking in our system. Government on its side is taking lots of initiatives to support this whole initiative, this whole shift. As a philosophy, Government of India has actually recognized that there is a need for shift from volume to value, which is a very big realization, and policies are being framed around this shift. How do we push this shift? Some of the examples would, if I can quote, is the recent R&D policy released by Department of Pharmaceuticals. That is to promote innovation. A lot of components in the policy to promote innovation. We have so many PLI schemes to promote the medical device industry. Complete nascent stage, 20% is our domestic production, 80% is still import, and we have to flip that ratio. Maybe 80% export and 20% import. For that, the PLI scheme, the infrastructural support scheme with respect to medical device parks, that is another area where government is supporting. A lot of financial incentives are being provided through different schemes. So government is actually giving all signals that we are serious, When it comes to the regulatory side, a lot of streamlining in the regulation is happening, right from medical device rules 2017, clinical trial rules 2019, the new drug and cosmetics bill, which should be placed shortly, maybe in the next parliament session, which does complete the streamlining of the medical device regulations and act. So from regulatory point of view, a lot of streamlining and rationalization is currently happening. As I talk, we are engaging with consultants, external consultants, to advise us on the areas where rationalization can be done, optimization of regulatory systems can be done, processes can be done. I have spoken in some other forum. We have already started, the ball is rolling, for developing a digital ecosystem, regulatory digital ecosystem, where this whole country's regulatory process will be digitized. Sugam will be fast. We will come out with a new platform. We recently, 10 days before, we floated the EUI for that, and we are looking for BGs like TCS and Infosys to participate and do that development for us. The concept is that center, state, every stakeholder in the pharma value chain would be part of that digital ecosystem. To the extent that the sales counter, their sales and purchase would be part of that particular ecosystem, so that any information required by any relevant person would be available at a click of a button. So that's the way the whole regulatory system is evolving going forward. If I had to name some of the successes in this new value play area, I feel comfortable that things are moving in the right direction. By now, we have actually approved 58 biotherapies, which includes biosimilars, some monoclonal antibody-based drugs, some mRNA vaccines. So 58, where in most of these value play area, more than 50% of activity has happened in the last 2-3 years. There are 9 cell and gene therapy products which have already approved. The latest one was last month when we approved the first CAR-T therapy for leukemia in this country by a startup. Basically, the best part in that whole dynamics is that the product came from Bombay IT startup, basically done by a Bombay IT professor. So that also gives a signal that this whole startup thinking and system is actually getting integrated into academics also, which is very good and very essential for successful startups in this country. And if we have to do a long-term play in the value area, this startup culture has to succeed. And these are the signals, these are positive signals, if I can say, coming out of it. There are 37 clinical trials in cell and gene therapy at different stages, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, running at this point in time as I talk, which is a good number for a country like India, which just started in this domain. There are 36 INDs at different stages of clinical trials. And when I say IND, these are all discovery molecules being done by the Indian companies and some of the foreign companies who have done the development in this country. So good number there also. We have approved 10 INDs in this country where the drug has actually been bestowed right from as a bestowed molecule, like any other innovator. So 10 of them already have been approved, some of them are in the market. So at the end, I would just like to point out that as a country, we have all these ingredients already in place. We have strong academics, we have a strong technology background, we have a strong infrastructure in pharma manufacturing, we have a strong global network and recognition of successes and successful healthcare stakeholders. We have strong clinical knowledge, right from practice to clinical trials. And now the time is mature to basically join all these dots and take the advantage of all this which has actually happened. The success of generics is one of the reasons for success of generics in this country has been the strong foundation of education and the technology which this country had when we started that generic play. So many pharma companies, institutions, so many technology and mechanical engineering strong. The chemistry was very strong, which actually made us successful in the API domain. One of the most strongest chemistry brains are actually from India, if you see the world scenario. And for me, we are at a similar situation as we were in early 90s when we filed the first NDA. So our situation at that point of time with respect to generic play, today we are at the same situation as with respect to the value play. The biotherapeutics, the gene therapy, the cellular therapy, all the regenerative therapy, global clinical trials, diagnostics. So complete understanding is there, strong scientific base is there, strong infrastructure is there, strong network, global network is there, it brings you the global reach. So people like you have to actually integrate all that and take benefit of all this which has already been created, and that will help us reach that $130 million, if not in 2030, maybe a couple of years later, but certainly we reach there if we work in a concerted manner and with a strategy for that shift from volume to value. With this I'll end today. Thanks a lot. And I have to leave, so I was told that I can answer a couple of questions if the audience have, because I will not be participating in the panel discussion.
We'll get the mic to you. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. Yes, we'll bring the mic to you, sir. Here, excuse me, to the gentleman.
Wonderful listening to you, sir. I run a digital therapeutic company, and one of the things which we've realized is software as a medical device certification. CDSCO is providing now for class 2. It's really wonderful to see that happening. Is there a push towards leading it towards a global certification also, so that this gets recognized globally, the certification which we get in India?
So global certification, currently we are not doing, and global certification is also a domain where basically the acceptability of that certification has to be there at the client. So since we just started this whole medical device industry, first time we are regulating. It might take some more time to come to that stage, but certainly.
Thank you, sir. I was just happy to see this getting started. Thank you very much.
Yes, Viraj. I won't ask you a difficult question.
Sir, based on this human genome project, actually what they said was the difference in the way people respond to drugs between continents is a mere 7 to 8%. Within a particular country, for example, it can be as high as 80%. So while I know there is always this need that we want Indian patient data, but actually if you were to see from that genome project, there's not too much of a difference. So I was just thinking, based on that, whether we can relook at this mandate that you have to have Indian patient data. Oh, phase 5.
I requested you not to ask difficult questions. But, if you want me to justify why it is done, it would need lots of data for us to believe what you are saying. Scientifically, what you are saying is right. But as a regulator, which is very defensive community, we would need lots of data to basically prove that what you are saying is right. And unless until that happens, it will be difficult to forego completely the need for the data on Indian population. Because as I said, through the defensive mindset, we see risk versus benefit skewed more towards risk, and industries look more towards benefit, and that's a tussle between regulator and industry. It's a global phenomenon. So I can't basically commit that it will be completely foregone, but that happens case-to-case basis where there is less risk as in basically analysis and in the opinion of the experts. We do take that call. There are approvals where we have waived the clinical trials completely. So that actually happens based on whatever data is being presented and whatever is the safety profile of the molecule.
Sir, as you rightly said that Indian pharma is already a sunrise sector. So I want to know what CDSCO is doing for the device industry. I mean, because there are a lot of Indian
device industry. I understood the question. So device industry is the biggest thing and the best thing which has happened is that it has been brought under regulation. One thing we have to understand very clearly, that regulation is not to pull you back. Regulation is to make you more progressive, more channelized, and so that your output is of a quality which is acceptable to the consumers. If you see the medical device industry a couple of years ago, before this regulation was there, it was spread everywhere. There was an issue with, except for 37 category of products, all other medical devices were free, there was no regulation. So nobody was actually looking at the quality of the product which is being imported or being produced in the country. And there were lots of complaints. Once the industry, the whole industry is now regulated, the biggest advantage would be that the product will be monitored for the quality, and we will be creating a database of the industry, the product and the related quality requirements for a better future. So that's the best thing which has happened for medical device industry.
The DRDO and ISRO also have these devices where they have developed these Indian indigenous devices. But why haven't they gone for these clinical trials for our...
So that question you have to ask them. I don't know why they did not go. But only point is, if they have to go for clinical trial, they have to come to CDSCO. They cannot do on their own. And I know there are very good organizations where very good products have been developed, but unfortunately, because of maybe lack of knowledge or whatever be the reason, I still meet people and industries who do not know that you need to have a regulated development of a product in medical devices. For that matter, in the regenerative therapy area also, a lot of doctors come to me that I have tons of data to support the safety and efficacy of a stem cell therapy which I have. And when we still look at the data, they have not done any single regulated patient study.
So you talked about these collaborations of these tech companies with the pharmaceutical. So why can't these industry can collaborate with the IITs and with best
They are doing
for the development and for the designs of these devices?
So I think these collaborations are happening. Lot of collaboration in the technology area, in medical devices especially. If I see, a lot of collaborations is happening with institutions like IITs, and I think a lot of good products are coming out of, will come out of that if not, they have not already come. But that has already started.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your questions. And thank you, Dr. Raghuvanshi, for spending this time here with us. Request you to please join us on the center stage as I invite Mr. Anil Matai, Director General OPPI, to please join us on stage and give a small token of our gratitude to Dr. Rajeev Singh Raghuvanshi, Drugs Controller General of India, CDSCO, Government of India. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause for Dr. Raghuvanshi? Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights and also answering some of the questions. Thank you very much, sir.